Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Friends, before going into the details of the war, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Please support by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We are a strong community. Russian Navy renovates base in Crimea to hide submarines from Ukrainian missiles. As published by Ukrinform on October 28, Russian troops are renovating an underground submarine base in the temporarily occupied Crimea's Balaclava, known as Object 825 during the Cold War times, in order to hide Russian submarines carrying Caliber-type missiles from Ukrainian anti-ship missiles. This statement was made on the AFU Stratcom's Telegram channel, and Ukrinform correspondent reports. In the temporarily occupied Crimea, Russian invaders started to build additional infrastructure near the so-called Object 825 in Balaclava, where the Soviet-era underground submarine base used to be located, the report states. In particular, they fully restored a tunnel passage intended for the entry of submarines into the shelter and a ventilation system which used to ensure the operation of the base in the Soviet era. According to the AFU's Stratcom, this way Russian occupiers are planning to hide their submarines carrying Caliber-type missiles from Ukrainian anti-ship missiles. Pre-war contraband was discovered in the Odessa port. In one of the ports of the Odessa region, law enforcement officers discovered contraband hidden in containers. According to the investigation, members of the drug cartel brought cargo containers with almost 50 tons of industrial slag from South America to the territory of Ukraine, which were unloaded at the port. The delivery took place in February this year, even before the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Russian Federation, the Prosecutor General's office reports. During the inspection of the containers, law enforcement officers found a bag weighing about 10 kilograms with a white powdery substance in one of the bags with slag. According to the results of examinations, almost 4 kilograms of cocaine were found in the selected samples in terms of the pure substance. The cost of the drug is about 24 million Ukrainian hryvnias. At the request of the prosecutor's office, the entire imported cargo was seized. Currently, law enforcement officers are conducting a pre-trial investigation into the fact of illegal production, manufacture, acquisition, storage, transportation, forwarding or sale of narcotic drugs or psychotropic substances. Ukraine confirms commitment to Black Sea Grain Initiative. President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, has confirmed the country's commitment to the grain deal and stressed the importance of continuing the Black Sea Grain Initiative despite Russia suspending its participation. Zelensky recently held talks with the United Nations, UN Secretary-General, Antonio Guterres to discuss the continuing of the initiative, stating that Ukraine is ready to remain a guarantor of global food safety. A statement by the Council states, Russia is solely responsible for the global food security crisis it has caused by its unprovoked and unjustified war of aggression against Ukraine and its blockade of Ukrainian seaports. Since the beginning of the invasion, Russia has been weaponizing food and hunger, and deliberate actions, including destroying stocks and imposing quota restrictions on its own export of foodstuff and fertilizers, have exacerbated the global food security crisis, according to the EU Council. The EU urges Russia to reverse its decision and to immediately resume the implementation of the initiative, and supports calls by Guterres for the extension of the initiative beyond its current period ending in November. Grain exports resumed after a deal was signed in July following months of intensive talks brokered by the UN and Turkey. Ukraine had been unable to export grain by cargo ship since February 24, due to a blockade in the Black Sea by Russian forces. As of Sunday, October 30, the total tonnage of grain and foodstuffs moved from Ukrainian ports under the UN Black Sea Grain Initiative exceeded 9.5 million tons, according to the Joint Coordination Center, JCC, of the initiative. Black Sea Grain Initiative. The UN was informed by Russia that while it suspends its participation in the implementation of the activities of the deal, including in inspections, for an indefinite time, it will continue the dialogue with the UN and the Turkish delegation on pressing issues. The Russian delegation of the JCC previously raised concerns about the safety of movements of merchant vessels under the deal, after preliminary inspection of a possible mine-like object in the maritime humanitarian corridor was performed early last week. To continue fulfilling the deal, it was proposed that the Turkish and UN delegations provide inspection teams. A total of 21 vessels are currently engaged in the initiative that are in or near the 3 Ukrainian ports with a capacity of over 700,000 t. Among those, the Ikaria Angel is the 7th ship chartered by the World Food Programme loaded with 30,000 t of wheat intended for the residents of Ethiopia, that are on the verge of famine, Ukraine's Minister of Infrastructure, Alexander Kubrakov said. In a statement on Twitter, Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Charlie McConnell said, "Disgusting to see Putin and his despotic regime weaponizing food again. So many people and economies rely on Ukraine as one of world's most crucial grain producer." General Staff reports successful strikes of aviation, artillery on Russian positions. The Ukrainian Air Force has struck the positions of the Russian military 14 times over the past day, the General Staff said in its morning Facebook report as of November 1. Read also. Russians launch 60 missile strikes in a day. General Staff reports. The General Staff said the airstrikes had targeted concentrations of enemy weapons and military equipment, defensive fortifications, and positions of air defense systems. On various parts of the front, Ukrainian air defense units shot down 4 Russian helicopters, 2 UAVs, and 45 enemy cruise missiles. Over the past day, Ukrainian missile forces and artillery units hit 2 command posts, 3 concentrations of troops, weapons and military equipment, and other important military targets belonging to the Russian invasion forces. Russian missiles hit apartments in Mykolaiv. Russia has fired 4 missiles into the southern Ukrainian port city of Mykolaiv overnight, demolishing half an apartment building and killing 1 resident. The attack comes a day after it unleashed a barrage of missiles on several cities including the capital Kyiv. Rescue workers recovered the body of an elderly woman from the rubble of the apartment block early on Tuesday, Reuters witnesses said. As rush hour was underway, passers-by walked past a 2-story school, the front of which was torn off by the force of the blast that left a massive crater. "This is what the barbarian horde does," said Irina Sidon, 48, the school's deputy director, standing in front of the gutted building as workers began sweeping up the rubble. "They, the Russians, are the descendants of the barbarian horde. They stole our history and now they are trying to steal our culture." Russian President Vladimir Putin said missile strikes on several Ukrainian cities on Monday which targeted infrastructure and a decision to freeze participation in a Black Sea grain export program were responses to a drone attack on Moscow's fleet in Crimea that he blamed on Ukraine. Mr. Putin told a news conference on Monday that Ukrainian drones had used the same marine corridors that grain ships transited under the UN-brokered deal. Kyiv has not claimed responsibility for the attack and denies using the grain program's security corridor for military purposes. The United Nations said no grain ships were using the Black Sea route on Saturday when Russia said its vessels in Crimea were attacked. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.